every single article. This all just came out. UK gas pumps run dry. So how bad is this problem? The Petrol Retailer Association said a survey of their members revealed 37% of gas stations were out of fuel. 37% of gas stations out of fuel. They may not sound good, but it's an improvement from the weekend. The fuel crisis has impacted everyday lives, but also jobs, taxi drivers, delivery drivers, and of course essential workers, including first responders. The British Medical Association suggested the government designate some filling stations as a priority for such staff. The government put British Army on a hard standby with personnel trained and ready to drive fuel from refineries and platforms to forecourts that need it. So you think about how important this will be when you have a situation maybe where you can't even get food to the food store. You can't get medical attention. You can't get a nurse. You can't get a doctor. You can't get the first responders to their job. 37% of gas stations not having gas, that's a very big number. It's a very big number. CNN just reported just 3 hours ago, heating sticking price up 180%. The natural cost of gas up 180%. Americans should brace for sticker shock on home heating costs as temperatures drop this fall and winter. This reminds me of what happened about 7 months ago in Texas when the utility prices skyrocketed, gas prices skyrocketed. This man, Ty Williams, who says his bill nearly tripled from $600 last month to nearly $17,000 so far this month. Williams pays for service on his home, guest house, and office. Gritty was among electric retailers who offer low rates based on daily wholesale prices, which recent days spiked from $50 per megawatt to over $9,000. Gritty in recent days had actually urged and tried to help all of their 29,000 customers switch the service to avoid skyrocketing costs. So that's Gritty, that's one company. You look at Texas as just an example, roughly 10 million people in Texas, and how many of them are on a variable rate plan between 25 and 30%. So approximately 3 million people could be impacted. So one great way for people to kind of find a way around this is not to be on a variable plan. If you're on a variable plan, I would try to switch over, at least for the time being, to something that you can contain, something that can't get out of control like this. Prices of natural gas and the most common way to heat homes are a leading fuel source for generating electricity have surged more than 180% over the last 12 months to $5.90 per million British thermal units. Natural gas hasn't been this expensive since February 2014. The risk is that an early winter and extremely cold fall temperatures will force households to crank up the heat that would further shrink the nation below average stockpiles of natural gas and could lift prices even higher. If we get early frost, that could get ugly. It could get ugly fast. The natural gas spike is exacerbating the United States' first brush with inflation in more than a dozen years. Families are already dealing with surging prices on everything from used cars to gasoline to bacon. The inflation surge is forcing the Federal Reserve to consider curtailing its ongoing support of the economy and leading some moderate lawmakers to question the need for White House's ambitious spending plans. Meanwhile, the energy crunch is making global investors nervous about economic growth and high prices. You think about all these people also that are losing their jobs over all the new mandates coming out. So you're going to have people that are forced to pay much higher prices for all their goods, services, food, products. Everything's going up. A lot of people are losing their jobs. Utilities are going up. More uncertainty in the world than ever before. How can the stock market continue like this when consumer confidence is likely going to fall? How can meme stocks and all these other speculative, in my opinion, bubbles continue to prosper when people are going to be forced into a rock and a hard place very soon? Many, many millions of people will be forced into a rock and a hard place. This would be bad enough even in normal times, but now there is a general fear about inflation. About half the U.S. households use natural gas for home and water heating, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. The American Gas Association, which represents natural gas utilities like Con Edison, noted that natural gas utility customers are not paying the day-to-day prices for natural gas that we see in the headlines. So you look at the increases right here. Prices for natural gas, the most common way to heat your homes and a major fuel source for electricity in the United States, have surged more than 108% over the last 12 months. So here they talk about a perfect storm. U.S. supplies have been whittled down further by strong demand from overseas amid high international prices. U.S. exports are liquefied natural gas and expected to average 9.6 billion cubic feet per day this year, up 48% from a year ago, according to EIA. And then there's the role of hedge funds and how other big money traders on Wall Street. Yager said speculators jumped in to bid natural gas prices higher when they realized storage levels were unusually low. It's been a perfect storm, with spec jumping in and taking full advantage of this. It's spec nirvana. The good news is that some of Wall Street argue that the natural gas spike may be getting out of hand. Last week, Bank of America wrote that the winter risk premium built into natural gas prices has reached excessive levels. The bank expects natural gas prices to drop during the final 3 months of the year and go lower next year. The energy transition won't be easy. You have to also look at the spending plans that Biden wants to roll out. It fits so well in with this crisis, they say. It fits in so well to where this could solve this big problem. The energy transition won't be easy. The natural gas price spike comes at a tricky time for governments around the world. Not only are they dealing with elevated inflation, global leaders are also trying to transition away from fossil fuels. Environmental groups want to ban oil and gas fracking to prevent emissions from warming the planet. At least 4 countries in the Europe Union have enacted plans to end domestic fossil fuel production by 2050. President Joe Biden has set a target of carbon-free electricity by 2035, an ambitious goal that would require dramatic shifts away from natural gas and coal to solar and wind. Today's high energy prices are a painful reminder of how addicted the world economy remains to fossil fuels and how difficult and potentially unpopular it will be to wean off them. This is a CNN article. I like to share some sources from the left, some sources from the right to give a general overview of what they're both saying. It's very, very interesting, this timing. And it's going to be a really, really big problem, especially, I believe, for places like Texas, when we saw how they handled the last 12 months. It's been a very bumpy ride for a lot of Texans. Same with Louisiana. There's going to be a lot of certain pockets that are going to suffer inside of this potentially a big, big issue. What do you guys think about what's happening right here? Do you think this is going to be a big problem coming into the winter? Drop your comments below, smash that like button. Let me know also if you think this is going to impact real estate rental prices and the overall economies in these markets. Subscribe here. Consider subbing on my second channel, my personal channel. I'll leave the links pinned down below in the top comment. See you guys next video.